So, I just want to talk to you guys today about being misunderstood. And I don't know if this is just to vent or for informational purposes. I don't know. But I have always been misunderstood. As a child, my family did not understand me. In school, my peers did not understand me. Even as an adult, especially men but people in general tend to misunderstand me. And it's one of the things that I hate. I can't stand it. And so I'm constantly trying to be as open as possible and as transparent as possible, hoping that I will be understood, hoping that my words, my actions will not be taken out of context. But it usually doesn't work out that way. I can remember being little and we lived in the projects. So my mom didn't like us to go and hang out. So she would have us all of these wonderful parties. Like we would have a bunch of parties, invite all the neighborhood kids, because my mom figured if we were home, then she could control the environment. And she was right. So anyway, she'd have us all these parties, and while the party is going on, I would usually be the kid sitting in a corner somewhere reading a book. So my parents didn't really know what to do with me. I was very, very shy, very I don't want to say withdrawn, but an introvert. So they thought something was wrong with me. And I think if I hadn't been such a bright child, they would have thought I was slow. I'm almost positive they would have thought I was slow. So I was always very, very misunderstood. And then even when I got, school age, and I would get picked on, the girls, they wanted to fight me a lot. And it was always, well, she thinks she's cute, or, because of the way she looked. And people just did not understand that I didn't like the way I looked until I was grown. I finally came to grips with how I looked when I was basically grown. I was in college. I was raised by very militant parents. So, my parents were always, don't trust white people. This is what they did. This is what they do. And so this is what I grew up with. My mom had always said, don't ever bring a white man home. If you bring him home, don't even bother coming. That kind of stuff. I remember one time we were living in the projects. I think I was in 7th grade. And this white guy named Keith came to my house. I didn't know he was coming. He came to ask me out on a date, and I didn't really know this kid. So he comes to my door, he knocks on the door, and he's like, is Isha here? And I'm more shocked than anybody because I wasn't expecting that. And I remember my mom told him, you can't come over here, whatever. And I was on punishment for the whole summer because of that. That's how serious my mother is, or was, about race relations. And she's mellowed out, I guess a little in her old age. But I mean, it took me years to kind of gather my own ideas about race and about, the people that I was raised basically to distrust. So when I looked in the mirror, you know what I'm saying, I didn't like the way I looked. I was too light. My eyes were not dark brown like the other people around me. And in my mind, it was like the same people that I'm being taught to distrust. I'm looking a little too much like them. So I didn't like the way I looked. It took me a long time to come to grips with the way I looked. But all through high school, girls wanted to fight me because they figured that I thought I was too cute. And then it didn't help being shy, because then they thought, oh, she thinks she's too good, to talk to us, or just whatever. That actually pretty much went through college as well. But, I was misunderstood in that regard. And even now, I find that men tend to misunderstand me as well. Well, I'm learning, though, that people don't really want you to be honest with them. We say that, but I don't think people can really handle it. Especially men. Like, I find that if a guy tries to talk to me and I'm like, thank you, I appreciate it, but no thank you, they don't really know how to deal with that. They're used to women, giving out the wrong name, the wrong number, and saying they're gonna call and never do. And I don't do that. I tell people all the time, bullshit is always out of season in my stable. It just is. And so I'm not going to dish it out, but I'm also not going to, accept any either. So it just seems like I'm always being misunderstood. People think that I'm mean because I'm honest. And I try not to be crass. I try to be as tactful as possible. But if you ask me for my opinion, I'm going to give you my opinion in as gentle a way as possible, but I'm going to give it to you. So don't ask if you don't want to know. And people that know me, they know that, and they don't take offense to it. But people that don't know me tend to think that I'm mean. They tend to think that I'm, a little abrasive, if not mean. And, that bothers me. And maybe it shouldn't. Maybe I should just not care. But as hard as we want to not care, I don't know if that's ever really possible. I mean, you cannot let it affect your decisions, and you cannot let what people think and say dictate what you do. But I think we all care, even if just a little bit. So yeah, it seems like I can say something, and I'm very expressive when I talk. I use my hands and all of that, and I don't know why I do that, but I'm very, very expressive when I talk. So I can say like the simplest thing, but because I'm so expressive, maybe it seems like I'm being ugly, or it seems like I'm being nasty, or like I have an attitude, even though that was not my intent at all. And so that, I think a lot of it comes from that. And I guess if you don't know me, then it could seem that way. But people are so quick to kind of jump to conclusions that they never give you an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, to explain yourself, or to even to come back from what they think, is an issue or whatever. So I think part of it is that, but I think part of it is just people not really caring to know you. I think we're so used to living on the surface that we don't want to go beyond that. I don't know if we're afraid, if we just don't care enough, or if it's just more comfortable living on the surface, living on, in the superficial world. But I don't know. So I guess that's just my opinion of why I'm misunderstood. And you know what? Maybe 10 or 15 years from now, I'll look back in retrospect and say, you know what? I was mean. I hope not. I mean, it's possible. Right now, I think I try to be as kind to people as I want them to be to me. I try to be good to people. I try to be honest. I try to be real. And I try to be giving and loving. So, I mean, I don't know, but maybe I am mean. Who knows? So, yeah. So, thank you guys for, listening, if you listened. If you're making it to this point in the video, then you probably did listen. So, thanks, guys.